so many people want to start a business, they want to be entrepreneurs, and they become slaves to the business because they're doing everything. And if they walked away from the business, there wouldn't even be a business. It takes a lot of discipline and a lot of sacrifice.
Yo, what's going on, everybody? This is Streetwise, host Matthew McReynolds. Today, we have a special guest, my good friend, Lyndol Woodruff with Woodruff Windows. He is the CEO, and they make your home more cozy with energy-efficient Windowsies. How did I do?
Killed it. What's going on, man? I'm glad you asked me to do this. Hi, everybody.
I appreciate you for taking the time. I know you're a busy guy running a business and scaling quickly. I wanted to talk to you. I wanted to start with, what was your previous life before business ownership? What were you doing before you transitioned in running this business?
2 categories: acting like an idiot and trying to get famous in Hollywood.
Wow, the two seem similar, but also so separate. So elaborate.
They're very similar. Hollywood is the land of idiocy, my friend. Oh my gosh, that's so loaded. That's such a loaded question. I've been back in Texas from LA now for 10 years, and it's wild. It's so much has happened in that 10 years. But also, it seems like it was just the other day I was still
How
in
long
LA.
were you in doing the Hollywood thing?
I lived there 3 different times, total of 12
Okay.
years. Yeah. The bulk of it
Did you,
was 12 years, but a couple times I got fired from some different ventures that basically got me. I had no choice but to leave LA or live in a dumpster. So I decided to. One time I ran to Colorado to live with my brother and sleep on his couch. He took me in. It's been a
wow.
crazy adventure, but yeah, there was just
Wow.
about 12 years total, man. It's bananas. Bananas out there.
What was the thing that turned it around for you?
On what level? Which category? Are we talking about on the spiritual level, emotional level, goal wise, maturity, responsibility? Like what in what area?
Wow. I mean, really what I want to get to is all of it. I mean, there had to have been a significant event where, because I see you now, and I'm sure you don't have it all together, but I see you, just to provide some context. Lyndall and I know each other from the networking circuit, and the first time I saw him walk into the room, I knew I'm gonna be friends with this guy one day, and it's gonna be sooner rather than later. And I see you, you're magnetic, people are drawn to you, you're skilled people together, and I see you do that in how you're scaling your business. And to do this thing that we're doing as entrepreneurs and business owners, you have to have a level of grit, you have to have a level of structure, and you have to have a why. So I guess my question is, at this point in your life, what is your why, and what was the thing that helped you to curate the why?
Well, yeah, I have an 8-month-old baby girl, and she's my first. I'm about to be How old am I? I'm about to be 42. I'll be 42 next month. So I think, you know, the real kind of pull was, I've always loved to um, really kind of inspire people to follow their heart, go for their dreams, whatever it may be. That was kind of my why. Like I wanted to. Originally, it was to be famous. There's real no why in that. I just want to be famous. I just want to go out to LA and be an idiot and whatever. Um, but now I've got so much more purpose now that I've matured a little bit. But I think now that I have a kid for the first time, and especially being a baby girl, like my why is so much bigger. And really what I want to be able to do is leverage building this business that my dad started as a hobby in 1982 and actually turn it into a business that runs and operates without us having to be involved in the day to day, and let that be a vehicle to be able to spend more time with my daughter. When I was growing up, we didn't have family vacations. We didn't do any of that stuff when I was a kid. My dad owned a business and he was always there. And, we didn't do anything. It was just kind of just living life. Um, I don't want that for my daughter and for the future generations. I want there to be like some experiencing different cultures, getting to travel, doing things, being able to give back to certain charities that we care about, certain causes that we care about, things that we care about in the community. Is I'm real big on um, developing yourself to be the most you know the most, I don't like to say the best version of yourself because that's such a cliche phrase that so many people use, but really just developing self leadership, principles that we live by, how we treat other people in the community, how we smile, how we interact with other people in the community. Like, really, all of the stuff that goes on throughout our country is just it all spreads from each of us on an individual level not being healthy, whether it be mentally, spiritually, emotionally, whatever it may be. There's a lot of healing that needs to go on in this country. And, a lot of people point fingers and, well, it's this thing and it's that thing. And if this thing changed, everything would change. It's such a freaking cop out, man. Really, what it is there's a lot of emotionally sick people. The majority of people in our country, our culture, is severely spiritually and emotionally ill.
Why
Our
do you
whole
think that is? What is it about the culture from your perspective that causes people to be blinded to their own lack of awareness in themselves, which leads to all the issues that you're talking about? What is it about the culture?
From my perspective, someone that lived and worked and played in many different facets of the entertainment industry in Los Angeles, 100% the media is one of the largest culprits of self-deprecation and getting and really playing a part in getting us to a place where we're at in our culture and our society. Because if you could literally take it back several decades, the mass percentage of behavior, the mass percentage of the population followed what was being shown through mainstream television. So they
No doubt.
took literally isolated incidents, right? People have been stupid and idiots since the very beginning of time.
No doubt.
We're humans. We're stupid. We do dumb things. That's no surprise, right? So one of the things that really started really messing things up in my perspective is you take these random isolated incidents with a very small number of people and magnifying it and blowing it up to create this perception that this is the way things are. And more people follow suit and behave the way that they're being shown. Like, one of my
Wow.
mentors always said, dude, it's called a television program because it's programming us. And it's called television because it tells a vision. Like, the human mind is such a crazy, crazy, powerful place. And the only thing that I'm not going to go too deep on that topic really, because eh, some of the things that I heard working in Los Angeles, some of the conversations that I heard take place on a high level with whether it be network executives or record label executives or whatever it may be, if people really knew the games that were being played through television and media and all that to keep people mentally effed, they would
Wow.
be appalled.
I just recently heard something that talked about how us as humanity, how we've evolved, and how I think it was Donald Miller on his podcast, but humans are evolved to when they see mess, they want to categorize it and put it back into a box and create structure. And we're naturally inclined to seek ease. It is against our natural flesh to strive to dig deeper. And it's crazy when you think about a group of people in places like Hollywood who understand the science behind that and are actively using metrics and data and are able to curate not only people's mindsets, but really control what people do. It's such a crazy thought and a huge rabbit trail, but it's cool because it leads me into something I wanted to kind of dive in with you specifically. Um, but I'll ask it this way first. Knowing that and being a new dad, how do you plan on being proactive and how you raise your daughter who, I mean, is going to be way more susceptible than even we were just because of how it's exponentially increased over the last, however many years.
Two folds to that. On one side, I'm very, very, very thankful that I got to have some of the experiences that I had that had opened me up to the truth of the mind. And Ziegler said it best. You are who you are and what you are and where you are because of what's gone into your mind. You can change what
That's
you
good.
are, what you are, and who you are by what you put into your mind. Our minds are supercomputers. I just want more people to understand you have the ability to choose what you put into your mind. 100%. You don't have to turn on the freaking TV. Like, culture's made it such a thing of this is the norm. We watch TV. It's garbage. 98% of the crap that's out there that's mainstream, that's like streamlined on purpose to get to the masses, is garbage for a reason. It's mental garbage, it's spiritual garbage, it's emotional garbage. It literally leads to nothing but feeling empty because they've really made it, they've developed it in such a very niche way to create that, man, to create an emotional disconnect and keep people upset, keep people pissed off. You could control people more that way.
It's
And
like they
so,
know how to get individuals to tap out and almost become zombies.
man,
And
some of this
like you said, emotionally detach. And
yes.
that's what it's built for.
It's crazy. Some of the conversations I heard in like some boardrooms of record labels is figuring out how they want to make the next top 40 song to make kids sad and buy stuff. What?
Wow.
It's on purpose, man. It's been going on for decades, dude. It's crazy. And I don't talk a whole lot about it because I sound like a whack job if I start talking about that stuff. But I'm glad that I got the experience and got out alive and sane because you see it all the time. People that don't play their games that are celebrities, they're thrown into the media to be crazy or go to a psych hospital or they're portrayed to be nuts if they go against that puppeteering system. Entertainment industry is behind so much when it comes to you know mental health, and it's just crazy. And anyways, to answer that question that you just asked, is I'm very, very intentional having this really young mind that's susceptible and just a sponge and just absorbing information. My TV does not come on. Me and my
Mm,
little daughter, we watch golf together on a Sunday because it's relaxing and it's
mm,
my favorite pastime. I'm not worried about her being, and even when the commercials come on, I turn her the other way.
yeah.
Seriously. And I'll push mute. Like we'll watch a little golf together. But my TV doesn't come on. I read good stuff to her. We listen to Mozart in the car. I'm just being very intentional while I can to just put as much good frequency, good messaging stuff in her head because that first 7 years of child mental development is so
It's
crucial.
huge. It's huge. There's a statistic out there. I mean, a 4-year-old who has spent X amount of hours with their one or both of their parents, a certain amount of hours a day, by the time they're four, from when they're an infant, knows exponentially more words than that same 4-year-old who maybe only spent a fraction of the time with an intentional parent, and it's just interesting how the development of our kids are such a close correlation to the quality time that they spend with us. So I'm curious, man, what is something that now that you've been a dad for, how old is your daughter?
She's about to be 8 months.
Oh, that's amazing, man. What a beautiful time.
It's
What is
amazing.
something that you are experiencing now that you had no? I'm sure people like they probably tried to prep you as much as possible, but
Oh,
what was something that was an unknown unknown that now you're like, "Oh my gosh, I had no idea it was going to be like this."
how deep and palpable this level of love is. That's the biggest thing. I had
Come
no
on,
idea.
man. Tell me about it.
No idea this level of love even existed, man. Like, I love my wife and I've been in love a couple of times in my life, whatever. Nothing like this, man. It is just, and she's starting to say dada, and she said daddy the other day with like a Y on the end. And I'm like, what? Because she's she's been going to networking events with me since she was 2 weeks old. And so she's got a lot of social time. She's been to window appointments with me. She sold a job when she was 5 days old. It was fantastic. So her whole life,
It's in the blood.
she's had people in her face smiling at her, just very intentional about the surroundings that I have her in. And it's funny you mentioned Donald Miller because I just met him uh, a couple
No
days
way.
yeah, just met him a couple days ago in Houston at our leadership conference. Got his little new book signed by Mr. DM. But this is his new book and going to be leveraging a lot of stuff in
Amazing.
this for the sales. But man, what a wonderful guy! And he just delivered some dude.
Oh man, I'm listening to his podcast right now, Business Made Simple. My dad
Yeah,
actually put me on the podcast, and man, I am binge listening to episodes, two, three a
he's good.
day. I just listened to the one with Craig Groeschel. It was a few, maybe I think it was a few weeks ago, but man, some good interviews, some good episodes. You mentioned the networking piece and bringing little Everly to the networking stuff, and I've gotten to see her at those events many times. My youngest is just maybe a month or two older, maybe 3 months older, Micah,
Yep.
and it's just cool seeing how it's just such a beautiful age, man. But I'm curious because you are a beast in the networking circuit. I mean, you just do a great job. And I know you guys are in the chamber and you just had ribbon cutting the other day. But what are some things that people miss when they go to these networking events? Because the reason I feel so comfortable giving you your roses because a lot of people are bad at networking and they go to groups and they alienate. Why do people struggle as much as they do?
Man, I don't know. Thankfully I was really really blessed to come from some really charismatic stock. I'm cut from a charismatic people person cloth. It's just kind of in my DNA, just to show up and be like, "Hey, how's everybody doing? Let's just get to know each other and hang out." It's just kind of who I am. I think a lot of it really, if I was being, I haven't really thought about it, but I would say that on some level, a lot of people really struggle with not feeling worthy on some level.
Wow.
you know some stuff happens to all of us, and I think because of the way, I'll take it back to culture. A lot of the way our culture has transformed, especially since the mid 70s to early 80s, when everything turned into fear-based propaganda, right? Like, you didn't see the news wasn't based in massive amounts of fear until really the early 80s. Like, I remember being a kid when they first made it about everything, if it bleeds it leads, all the stuff that could be like, it's scary, this could happen to you, like just really really pumping fear and doubt and creating that sense of separation in the community. Really started in the early 80s, but they've done such a good job. I don't know, I think just because of the way things are set up, man. I think on a deep level, a lot of people are either afraid of success, or they have fear of failure, or something like that. So, a lot of people, I guess, reserved, maybe. I don't know. But one of the things that I see happening at networking events a lot is people walking around with a stack of their business cards in their hand and just saying, "Hey, nice to meet you," and handing them a card. Like, there's no value created. There's no questions asked of the other person. One of my mentors said, "Hey, man, if you really want to be successful, find a way to be interested in other people, genuinely
Mm.
interested in other people and what they're doing in life." Because naturally, people want to talk about
Instead of
themselves. Because on a deep level, we're all selfish.
naturally.
Yeah, naturally. Like,
Yeah,
we got to take care of our own. We got families to take care of. So, inherently there's like a selfish nature. So
right.
being able to overcome that from a networking perspective to build relationships is to really, when you go in the room, be outward focused, just to genuinely find out more about other people and what it is that they're up to and what their goals and dreams are. And you'll be able to find a lot of the times that a lot of people's direct goals and what they're wanting to do in life really fits into your vision and what you're trying to build. And a lot of the times you can end up plugging them in to what you're building because it helps your goals, but also fulfills what they're trying to accomplish.
No doubt.
Just walking around handing out business cards is not networking. Like most people,
No, I think a lot of people who they spend the money and they expect, they spend the money and they hear about networking as, okay, I'm going to get some ROI, some return on investment. And they
yeah,
expect that the sales that they get from whoever they can get sales from by just being in the group is going to give them the necessary ROI just to maintain and keep the membership. Where, at least in my experience, I mean, it was, you were probably a little bit better at this than me, but it was years before I had significant referrals, significant sales that were coming from people in the rooms that I was going to, just because it took time to develop a relationship. Now, for me, I was still, when I got started, very much in my business on the day to day. So it was hard for me when I first got started to build up the consistency that it takes. So I think consistency is a big piece, but I like what you said about being interested than trying to be interesting, because it takes the onus off of you and it puts you in a position to learn from other people and see where you can fit in the community. Because at the end of the day, if you buy one of my services, I mean, it's great. I'm not going to turn you down unless you're just not my ideal customer. But at the end of the day, I want you to be an ambassador for me and can talk about me and my business in a positive light to your customers. And I think a lot of people miss that.
yeah. I think a lot of the thing too. One of the ways that I've really been able to, that the meeting that I met you at, if it wasn't for that meeting in that room and those people, this business would not be where it's at right now. Like
Mm,
and one of the main ways that I was really able to do that is, this is something that Howard Partridge and Zig Ziglar talked a lot about was, referral relationships. And it's building relationships with the right synergy partners that already have a customer base of people that could use your services. And it's building a relationship with that referral source and having them market to their database your services for you. And then you just create a program to where there's incentives for them to do that, whether it be profit share or whether it be discounted services that you offer for them. So really designing just a simple referral program and just building relationships with referral partners that already have your ideal customer. That's been
that's
the
great.
we do energy
Yeah, for
efficient
sure.
windows for homes. So our ideal referral partners are people that are also in homes all the time that have a lot of customers and just say, "Hey, your customers really need our services." They really do. People don't realize how huge of a very important thing windows are to the home. They really play into a lot of the performance, the bills, the comfort, the everything. Windows are a huge part of it. So that's what we did. People that are roofers, HVAC people, flooring people, window treatments people, just other home service providers that have customers already that need our services. And we just, said, "Hey, if send a message out to all your people. Let them know we exist. We do great work. We want to help. That's it. And then the referrals just started flooding in. So it's like really, kind of being way smarter as opposed to harder, knocking on doors or whatever. I mean, build relationships with people that have influence over a lot of people that need your services.
You talked about having an influx of referrals and leads by leveraging synergy partners in these networking groups. How have you been able to scale your business in order to keep up with the new leads, the new referrals, the new sales?
Man, in all honesty, that's a great question because that's exactly where we're at right now. I mean, with the business coach, for one, helping us dial in on
Mm.
systems and processes in the office. This is our first physical office. Like, we got an office now, office manager. We're really dialing in to try to figure out how to manage the flow of all that because the influx that has come is like, whoa, oh my gosh, there's business and appointments and people calling in. It's coming out of our ears. And it's always like really been just me, my dad, and my sister. So now it's like, dude, it is go time to focus in on creating systems and processes. So everything, there's a procedure to all of it. So nothing gets left behind. All the customers get touched. Everybody gets their questions answered, and really dialing in on a processed way here in the office. And that's exactly what we're doing right now. Right before I jumped on with you, we're on the call with our business coach, helping us really dial in on that stuff. It's so important. Um, so important. And it takes some time. So I'm not going to sit here and be like, oh, well, this is how we did it. Cause this is what we're doing. We're in the thick of it right now. And
Yeah.
it's awesome. At the same time, it's a completely different level. So like Jim Rohn said, everything, there's how does he say it? There's the pain of discipline and the pain of regret. Everything has got a pain, right? There's two pains in life: discipline, regret. The difference is the pain of discipline weighs ounces and the pain of regret weighs tons.
Oh, that's good.
But really what it is it takes sacrifice. If you truly, truly, truly want to have some freedom, some personal freedom to actually have time to spend with your kids or go on vacation or yada, yada, yada. So many people want to start a business. They want to be entrepreneurs and they become slaves to the business because they're doing everything. And if they walked away from the business, there wouldn't even be a business. It takes a lot of discipline and a lot of sacrifice.
Oh, hey, what up? Hey, this episode is brought to you by Mosquito Joe. Let's take a listen. Why would somebody buy a Mosquito Joe franchise? Well, first, mosquito control is in high demand, especially in areas and climates where the weather is warmer and you're going to get a lot of wet, moisture, heavy rain, swampy areas. Mosquitoes are everywhere, so the service is in high demand. If it's above 50 degrees, mosquitoes are active. Next, Mosquito Joe has a proven business model. Mosquito Joe is a brand under Neighborly. And if you know of Neighborly, you know that they have around 30 home services brands. So from a franchisee perspective, you have a lot of support. And the Mosquito Joe team has been doing it for a long time. Next, it is a recurring service model. Like I said, if mosquitoes are active, you have customers. And mosquitoes are active when it's above 50 degrees. Here in the Dallas, the DFW area, we have about a 10-month season, which gives us around 13 or 14 treatments. The average yearly value of a customer could be anywhere from $850 to $2,000 every year, and these customers are loyal. Next, you can look at some pretty low overhead in comparison to other franchise opportunities that are out there, especially if you're looking for a service or brand concept that has a brick and mortar location. Your cash injection to start, your initial investment is going to be a lot higher. So some of these home service brands have a much lower level of entry. With Mosquito Joe, you have the franchise fee, you have initial marketing, you have a truck and labor and however you want to build your office for working capital. But with a truck and some blowers, you can get going with a pretty low entry cost. Lastly, there's flexibility. Now, I've been doing my Mosquito Joe business for 8 years now, and we've definitely gone from working in the business to more so working on the business. I know franchisees who are much bigger than me that work all day, every day in their business. And I know other franchisees that have really wonderful businesses that they still have a 9-to-5 job as well as operate their franchise. So there is opportunity and flexibility with how you want to build it. The fact that it's a seasonal business gives you plenty of opportunity throughout the year to get your vacation in, to spend time with your family. It's been a great experience for us. We've been a part of the Mosquito Joe family for going on 8 years now, and I learned about franchising and business ownership through this concept. It is great. The franchisees offer wonderful support. You get just as much, if not more, value from your fellow franchisees than you do any franchise system. So pick your brand wisely, do your validation, do your due diligence, and hopefully you can find value in this video, and we hope you have a great day. Now, back to the interview.
Another quote that I like is temporary intense effort results in a lifetime of honor. So we're a part of the Howard Partridge inner circle. I love Howard Partridge. Everything that they do. He's the exclusive small business coach for the Zig Ziglar Corporation. And he's amazing. And he's built such an awesome coaching program. And their whole thing is turnkey in 3. Stop being a slave to your business and create a predictable, profitable turnkey operation in 3 years. That's their whole program. 3 years. Turnkey in 3. Because most people get into business because they want to have more free time, spend time with their family. But the reality is, it turns into 20-hour days.
Yeah.
It's like, how do you get to that place of being able to step away from your business? Like, you want to really build it to where you can literally leave for 30 days and nothing would change. That's where I'm at. Like, I'm really committed to building that so I can be able to spend more time with my daughter, do some of the things for the community that I would like to do, give back to certain causes, create this little machine here that helps homeowners, gives back to the community, and frees up some time so I can, do some traveling, some of the fun things that I want to do. I want to go scuba diving in the Great Barrier Reef. That's one thing I want to do.
Yeah.
Here in the office, I ain't ever scuba diving.
Yeah. No,
You know?
amen, man. So many people get caught up. And dude, this is what I love about you. You always come with the book references, the coaching references, and it's just a great value. So listening to you talk, I heard a few key things. So you sought out mentorship and coaching. So many people are afraid to invest in themselves, and I think that's awesome. You systems and procedures, and that's been huge for you guys, but also people. So I'm curious, what key roles have you added in the last? I think the time frame is arbitrary, but since being on this journey of realizing that you've got to scale up to get out, you got to delegate, you've got to put people in place. What key roles specifically have you added recently that has been able to show you some significant progress? Because, I mean, it's always progress over perfection.
Yeah. The number one thing is bringing on the VP of sales, Steven, whose brain works completely different than mine. He's very strategist, implementation. I'm very visionary. Here's what I see happening, but I've got no idea how to implement it. I'm not a task person. I'm a let's get out and speak, share the vision. This is what we want to do. This is what we want to create, and then field the right people. And that was the big missing piece. Because with the business, I had the vision, but I was also doing the day to day. I was scheduling the installers. I was going to appointments. I was dealing with if there was warranty issues that had to be dealt with the factory. All of that stuff, and it was wearing me out, man, wearing me out. So I was praying, God, please send me a business partner that is an integrator, because me, my dad, and my sister were all more on the visionary side of things. So we were just
Wow.
wheels. Like we had all these great ideas, but nothing was really getting done because we were wrapped up in dealing with the appointments and the customers. And like, so all the implementation stuff, being able to have him for the last 6 weeks has been huge for us. And now that we got the office, bringing in an office manager that's working directly with him, to really dial in on the procedures that go on in the office. I mean, it's been really game changing. That God was like, okay, you prayed specifically. Here you go. Meet this dude randomly out of nowhere that's passionate about Windows. What? Really? There's another window dork, and he's a strategist. Bring him on. So
That's amazing. So, we covered a lot in the delegation category, and you referenced EOS a little bit, but essentially letting go of the vine. So I'm curious, how much has assessments played into building out your team from here?
Well, actually, we just had when we had the coaching call right before I jumped on with you. Next week, we're doing disc assessments with our coach for the entire team. It'll be our
Oh,
first.
that's amazing.
Yeah. So all me, my dad, my sister, Stephen, Liz, Mike, Joe, everybody that's on the internal team that has something to do with the office or sales capacity. We're doing disc assessments next week. So all that, yeah, just really understanding the different communication styles, different leadership skills, different ways people operate, to effectively communicate and understand each other better. Also, whenever you understand disc profiles, you can communicate with customers better, understand their wants and needs, and be more effective and efficient for your customers. That's really what it boils down to. Because human behavior, I mean, oh my gosh, it's we all are kind of there's blends of different stuff, but there's a prominent way that people operate. So really, when you can understand that, there's the people that are direct, and there's the people that are woo inspired, and then there's the support people, and then there's the cautious people. That's what DISC stands for. And so really understanding everybody's personalities and stuff, you can better place your people that you have within your org chart, or whatever the performance results description is. Another way to say job description, like instead of job description, performance results description. So we know based on the role that when you do these things, it produces results. So it's not really a job description, it's a performance results description based on the personality and the way that they naturally are. So it's really taking what they naturally are and plugging them into a piece of the business to manage that they will love doing because it's who they actually are, and it moves the business forward.
Oh, that's good, man. I want to ask a follow-up question, but you just did so well. I just resonate so much with your answer and why it's important. It baffles me when people put it put assessments and personality assessments into a box and they don't even consider it. And then at the same time, they're frustrated because they can't find good people who are willing to work for them, and they have a hard time delegating, putting people in the right seats. Man, we've got a lot of like similarities in the way that our business is structured, but one of them is that we're both family businesses where you've got your sister in the mix and also your dad. And with us, I still have my dad, but my wife was in the business for a very long time. And I'm curious, how is it trying to build accountability when over half the team is family members? Does it make it easier? Does it make it harder? How have you guys navigated working together and trying to hold each other accountable?
There's been a lot of challenges, man. And I tell you what, one of the number one things that we've done is start to bring in some outside people that aren't family with different roles. And really, what it boils down to is family members being clear on, okay, we are family, but at the same time, this is a business. So we just need to get clear on who's doing what. And then it's easier. What I've noticed is it's much easier to have the accountability person be someone that's not a part of the family.
Mm.
It's for some reason it's taken differently. Like, working with my little sister, there's times, if I'm saying, "Hey, well this needs to get done," she reacts defensively as if I'm the older brother being mean to the little sister because it's just so ingrained in us cuz she's my little sister. And we grew up together, I grew up smacking her with her Minnie Mouse house shoe. Um so sometimes if I'm like, no, 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 we can't do it that way, she's like, what? And she gets defensive, and I'm like, hold on, well, it's just this is just business conversation. So when you have I took off my glasses for the recording. I keep trying to push up my glasses and they're not there. I'm like, um, so being able to have someone from the outside kind of step in with a certain role has been a huge game changer. Super, super helpful to have that object. But now I'm calling it a multifamily business. That's what I'm calling it now, because our office manager, her husband is also part time sales as well.
So how many people do you have on the team now? What does your team structure look like?
Well, of course, my baby's the CEO for sure. That stands for cute, energetic officer. She's the.
Nice.
Then there's me, and there's Pops is pretty much he's retired now. He's not really doing anything. He's chilling. Um,
Wow.
yeah, and Christina and Steven and Joe, which is Christina's husband. So he's on the team now in the sales capacity, and Liz is the office manager, and we've got Larry and Elliot and Parker, who are an install team. Miguel and his boys, they're an install team. And then we just brought a new install team on board. This young man named Aaron, who's wonderful, and he's got his own little crew. And he was working with a GC before, and he's like, "Hey, I want to have my own window crew." So we brought him on. They had their first kind of onboarding training um, shift yesterday with Larry on a house, and they did really, really good. So I'm very excited to get them working regularly. So quite a bit, man. Um, got some HR stuff plugged in now, and Liz at the front desk is our first official W-2 employee, which is pretty
Awesome.
awesome.
Yeah.
Just really dialing it in here at the office so we can be more effective for all the customers in the community. So it's a lot of fun.
What would be the next key hire for you guys? Is it another salesperson, another crew? What is it that would help you take the next step?
I don't even know right now.
Are
I
you
don't
guys
know.
in a good spot? Like you've kind
We're in
of
a good
built it out to meet.
we're in a good spot for the demand and what we're building here in the community, and working with the coach and implementing some of the new things. We're in a good spot. Really, all the focus right now is just dialing in on internal systems and processes so all calls can funnel through our office manager and everything's tracked in the CRM. That way my phone doesn't blow up all day every day and have to deal with every single moving part, because it's been predominantly me on all the operations and sales and all that stuff. So huge blessing. So don't really need anybody right now. We just need to dial in on the systems is what we're working on.
Nice. No, that's great, man. That's really cool to see. And I've got the best seat in the house, or at least one of them. I got a good one to get to watch you guys, watch y'all scale and watch y'all grow. What would you say? And I want to respect your time. I could talk to you all day, man. What would you say to somebody who was against bringing on a mentor or bringing on a coach from, maybe an investment perspective, but also just feeling like they don't need it, that they can do it on their own? Well, how would you talk to that person in the sense of encouraging why they might benefit from mentorship or coaching?
I would say we're humans. We're humans, and everybody needs a coach. I firmly believe everybody needs either a counselor, therapist, coach, mentor, some type of something. Every professional athlete has a coach. No matter how good you are as a golfer, Tiger Woods still has a coach. Coaches are an integral part of development and growth. Like, growth should not stop. And if we really want to, you know, achieve some really neat things, I think it's very important to have an accountability partner or some type of coach to get clear on direction. So many people probably have absolutely no direction of what they want to achieve in life, just kind of drifters and floaters. But you got to also be, hey, if you're content, this is what I always go back to. If you're content, honestly, if you can genuinely and honestly and authentically say that you're content just drifting with zero purpose, awesome. Super awesome. Fine. But if you want to achieve if you have some type of fire burning in you and there's something that you want to do or a business that you want to start or a cause or a purpose or a passion or a something, turn off the TV for one and quit complaining. Literally. You can't complain about your life and just go to bars and party and watch sports. They don't go hand in hand. But if you're happy doing that, if you love going to the bars and watching sports and complaining about life, awesome. Whatever, do you. If you're content doing that, do that. Whatever. But if you literally, if you're like, man, I want to do this and I want to do this, but all you do is go to the bar and complain about life, you're missing the boat, man. Turn off
Wow.
the TV, disconnect your social media, get some freaking books, listen to some podcasts, change the stuff that you listen to, really start there. That's really what it's all about. Completely stopping putting all the crap in your head and just change what you listen to. That's first. Change what you listen
Wow.
to, change what you watch, and you will be surprised how fast things can change.
That's good, man. I think so many people suffer from we're just so inclined to fall into addictive traits. I think so many people suffer from addiction, whether that's drugs, alcohol, binge watching TV, food, and literally listening to Craig Groeschel talk to Donald Miller about discipline and habits and purpose. And he specifically used the example of fitness. And if you work out for a certain amount of time, your brain releases dopamine, which we can become addicted to. But it's a good habit that we are now addicted to. And it's almost like a thing that naturally can be used as bad if curated the right way, with the right sense of purpose, with the right habits. It can be used to turn us into somebody good or somebody that we're proud of. I'm curious, how have you been able to refine your habits to, again, I know you're not at the place that you fully want to be. None of us are perfect, but how have you been able to refine your habits to change the course of your life? So you sound unstuck in the sense that most of the people that maybe we're talking about now, they're stuck. How have you been able to transition out of that?
I'm not fully transitioned out of it. I'm still stuck in so many different areas, man. Like, for me personally, I'm having to do just little tweaks at a time. I've had such a bad habit of getting really fired up and then make a new list. This is all the stuff I'm changing today. Clean out the refrigerator, meditate in the morning, read the Bible, work out, rah, 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 rah. And I've got literally, it's embarrassing, but I don't even know how many notebooks I have stacked up in my home office by the desk. You can't even fit the stack in the frame. A huge stack. And if you flip through
Okay.
these stacks, you would see pages and pages and pages of me writing out a new routine. Because I've always,
Wow.
I know inherently, well, I guess through all my coaching and all the things that I've read and listened to, I know some of the things that create the best results. But just changing everything immediately, I can't do it. I've got to do little bitty things here and there. So I'm getting better at certain things, but like I really had to start with something as simple as making myself roll out of bed and doing 10 push-ups on the floor.
Nice.
Just like I've had to start there because I freaking hate working out. And I want to be that person that loves it because I know how good it is for you. I know, like we all know exercise is important. Why can't some of us do it? I don't know.
Sure.
What is it that I'm just like, no, I just want to start working. I just want to roll out of bed and check my emails and get to it. Like that's not good for the long play. If I want to be around a long time for my daughter, I really need to start thinking about that crap now.
No doubt.
Just because I'm not sick at the end of the day doesn't mean disaster's not coming.
No doubt.
Like Jim Rohn says, start with an apple a day. If an apple a day keeps the doctor away, then what's the problem?
No, it's good. James Clear, again, he talks about in
Yeah.
Atomic Habits,
Yeah, he's great.
habit stacking, and even in just casting a vote. So if you rise and fall based on the quality of your habits, and everything that you do, you're casting a vote for the person that you're going to be in the future. And I think it's the small things that we overlook. And so I think that's awesome that you said it that way. Last question, and then I'm going to let you go because, again, I'm curious with how you do it. You've got a lot of stuff going on. How do you protect your energy, and how do you create energy for yourself? I imagine a cup, and every time we put out energy, the cup goes down, and somehow we have to get energy put back. We have to get stuff put back into the cup. How do you do that for yourself?
The number one way that I do it is I have a little bit of quiet time every single morning.
Okay.
Just me and God. And I just listen. I'm quiet. And I just say, God, fill me up with your energy. Give me your courage and continue to bless my family with your blessings. And so it is. Amen. Let's have an awesome freaking day. I do that. I listen to praise music in the car.
Nice.
And I go to church on Sundays. And that's something that I've just newly implemented. I hadn't been in church for a long time. And one of my friends who's now on our sales staff invited me to his church. It took me in Everly because I thought it was time. I thought it was important. Like, hey, I want my daughter to be raised around a good community of people that are loving and caring and genuine and about good principles and, are all about that kind of Christ-centered mentality, which is, it's a way of being, it's a way of loving, it's a way of giving back. True Christ-like mentality is service, and love and
Amen.
non-judgmental stuff. It's a way of life that's really powerful when pursued how it's laid out specifically, not judgmentally, not some of the other stuff you hear about, but like like literal, like wanting to lead that type of life. So that right there, that's been the big thing, man. And it's just getting really back dialed into my spiritual life and having that quiet time and my gratitude time and reminding myself over and over and over again of all the things that I have to be grateful for. Like a mind of thanksgiving fires me up more than anything. That's another reason why I don't watch the freaking news. You won't ever watch me watching that freaking crap. Because it's just, it literally can just suck the freaking gratitude out of you. There's so much to be grateful for where we live here in this country. Yeah, there's crazy stuff that happens, but there's always been crazy stuff. I mean, gosh, just that's the big key. Not focusing on the distractions is how I
Mm,
maintain my energy. Les Brown
that's
said it.
good, man.
too. Les Brown's son asked him one time, he's like, Dad, why do you make more money in one day than some of my friends' parents make in 1 year combined? And he said, simple, son, I'm not focused on the distractions. We have the ability to choose what we focus on. And, last thing I'll say before we get off, because I got an appointment to go to, is, where attention goes, creation flows. Period. Our mental, the things that we focus on and the things that we visualize and the things that we put focus, like, even if we're not intentionally doing it, like subconsciously, watching poisonous things creates a poisonous inner environment. That's just how it's designed. So knowing that, we can intentionally watch things and listen to things that create an empowering interior, and we can live from the inside out as opposed to living from circumstance.
Man. Well, hey, I appreciate your time. I wanted to have you on because my goal is to add value and help people get off of zero and just get going. There's so much going on in people's lives and they have a lot of limiting doubts. And it's just about taking that step. And you are just a pure example of that. I appreciate you. And as always, stay streetwise.
Appreciate you, brother.